Hey guys, welcome to the MC Anime Podcast. We cover anime, geek culture, Japanese aesthetics, and Asian studies. We are a multi-fandom podcast, and you can expect to hear topics in your favorite hobby or fandom activity potentially. You can find MC Anime on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Also, please check out mcanimepodcast.com, our website. Furthermore, stay tuned in for another episode.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of MC Anime. I'm MC Anime, and we have another special guest with us today. Name is Devin. So how you doing today?
Hey there, I'm doing great. Here to talk about some Japanese stuff, huh?
Oh yeah.
All right.
So what's a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Devin, and I am 30 years old. I have been to Japan. I was there in 2013. Let's see. I have a degree in Asian Studies with like a main focus on Japan, like history, culture, and language. I got that from Randolph-Macon College in Ashland, Virginia, if that matters. So I also am an artist. I do a lot of art. Of course, I've been inspired by anime a lot in my art. So I guess anything else I can think of. I actually am technically disabled, but I'm enjoying doing language stuff in my free time, the Japanese language.
Gotcha. So what's like a correspondence that you have on social media that you have your art on?
Yeah, so I have a DeviantArt account, if anyone knows what that is, and then I also have a Facebook art account. I need to update it, but it's there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for anyone that doesn't know, the description will be in the link in the episode below, so when you're hearing this episode, it'll be there to find the correspondent link. So, today we're doing a special, an episode focusing on Japanese studies / Asian studies. It's going to be the Japanese writing and the 3 types of scripts associated with the writing as well.
Alright.
So, what are the 3 main types of scripts found in Japan, and we can go from the differences from there.
Okay. Well, first there's the basic hiragana. Mm-hmm. Hiragana is basically their own language, their own writing system. Their own writing system they came up with a long time ago, and they use it in everyday sentences. A lot of times when you take hiragana and you make a word with it, such as neko, which means cat, neko. So, normally, maybe younger folks, like children, teenagers, will write it in hiragana. But usually people, when they get older, more into businesses and whatever they are doing for their career, they start using kanji in place of that noun. So kanji usually is in place of nouns, and also in place of verbs, usually, and adjectives, I guess. So, the first one's hiragana. That's what I learned first. You can look it up. It's pretty easy to remember. At least I think so. There's a few things that's kind of different when you have to basically put 2 characters together to make like nya for cat. When a cat goes meow, it's nya in Japanese. Okay, so the second part of this is, the second script is katakana. So katakana is, they basically took hiragana and kind of altered it for a lot of them. Mm-hmm. Basically, katakana is used for foreign words. It's like they don't have a word for bread. Okay, so they use I think it's French word for bread as pan. P-A-N is pun. So, they usually write that kind of stuff in hiragana. They also have they also use kind of katakana for, like, I'm going to say Pokemon because I like Pokemon, okay? So, like, they write the Pokemon names, for example, in katakana. And I'm pretty sure the reason they do that is so that it stands out more from everything else that's written.
Oh yeah, and character names are typically want to stand out more because that's a part of a franchise, and that part of that franchise is to differentiate between other franchises so that katakana can be used in that way to lighten that character.
Yeah, definitely. Katakana is basically used for that kind of stuff too. So, the last one we have here is like the major one. It's called kanji. So kanji is basically Japan kind of stole it from China a long time ago, before they had their own like writing system, I believe. So the kanji, there's a lot of kanji in Japanese. Okay, there's like. Yeah. I have this book in front of me, and I'm like trying to figure out how many kanji are in it. It's a lot. So I think this book has, the book has 1,945 Joyo kanji and 284 Jimei kanji. So that's pretty cool.
And different types of kanji, does like the different subscripts and the different categories that kanji is also divided in as well.
Okay. Well, with kanjis are made up of radicals. Radicals are basically parts of the kanji itself. So if you look at a kanji and you see like a piece of the kanji that looks like it's another kanji, that's a radical. I would definitely show you if I had, visual media to show, but you could always look it up. So what they do is when they write kanji, they do it in a specific order, and it's very important for them to do it in a specific order. I remember when I was in high school, I did it out of order all the time.
Oh yeah.
And the teacher was like, no, you can't do that. So the kanjis are fun. There's a lot to learn, but once you learn them, reading Japanese is so much easier than just reading a bunch of hiragana together, because you like see the word and as in kanji, and it's like a picture in your mind as to what that is. It just works differently in the written language.
Alright, so let's take the perspective of English, for example.
Yes.
We have the subject-verb agreement.
Yep.
That's one sentence.
Uh-huh.
So that's how you read the sentence.
Uh-huh.
And not having that makes it incomplete.
Right.
So what's a complete sentence using the different scripts from Japan and actually forming a sentence with it?
Okay, as far as forming a correct sentence, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's written in kanji, hiragana, or katakana. It doesn't really matter for the structure of the sentence, if that makes sense.
Okay, so like for example, the dog went walking in the park with its owners. Yeah. It doesn't need all that. It just needs a basic understanding what it's talking about, and maybe the people, maybe the time or whatever.
What do you mean? I'm sorry.
Like, if you were to translate that into Japanese, I like dogs. How would that look like?
So, I like dogs in English. If you translate that in Japanese, you would say inu ga suki desu. So inu means dog. You normally they put the the noun kind of at the front of the sentence. Sorry, and then they have so inu ga. The ga part is basically they connect words, and it kind of is like showing what the noun and the verb are doing with each other. So like in English it'd be in, over, out.
Prepositions, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's prepositions basically, kind of.
Yeah. And
then so inu ga suki. So suki means like. You can say daisuki, which means literally big like, which means love, obviously. Mm-hmm. So like and then desu means that's the end of the sentence. That's the verb. The verb is always at the end of the sentence. Okay. And it's in desu, so it's in present.
Okay.
Yeah.
So desu is still part of that liking? Like, I like the dog?
Yes, that's a whole sentence. Inu ga suki desu.
Okay, so the noun, the subject, the noun is in front, the dog. The subject is in the middle and the verb at the end. So that's the structure?
Pretty much. And
so it would be like, dog, I like, if you want to do a roughly translation of that. Dog I like.
Dog like is. or I like. Yeah, so
Dog like is.
Kind of. It's like, so desu at the end of the sentence is basically the word, like, is. But it translates kind of funny into English. They use that at the end so they know if you're talking about the present, the past, the future, the way they end the word desu, deshita, stuff like that.
So there's different forms of desu. Like, I know to be in Spanish has all these different verb conjugations depending on the subject matter. Like, S is he or she or it. All that stuff.
Right.
So would that be different in Japan, or would that just be to be as the subject matter I like, and you just refer to yourself?
Oh, that's a good point. So you could actually start a sentence with watashi wa, which means me.
Okay.
Inu ga, dog, and then ga means like you just do naturally. I'm sorry, ski, which means like, desu, and that means you're at the end of the sentence.
But either way you write it, if you know the context, desu is basically broad. It doesn't have like different verb endings depending on the noun using it.
No, it does.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like deshita is the past form of desu.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
So it has like the past, present, future. It just doesn't have like.
Yes.
It doesn't. It's not like Spanish when it's like different verb endings depending on the pronoun, and then it has different pro endings depending on the state of that as well. Because Spanish is weird.
Yeah.
They have like 15 different versions of the same word. You just all have to know the endings and pronouns and suffixes at the end.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so the Japanese language uses the verb itself, desu, which means like is, you do, it exists. It literally means like it's there. So there's like deshita, which is past. There's other words that end in like su. If it ends in su, it means it's a present sentence. If it said, or it could be a future sentence depending on no context. Sure. And then deshita means past. So like anything that ends in like ta is past.
Okay. Okay, so to make it a reflexive noun, you can refer to yourself, but you don't have to refer to yourself because they're going to assume that I is you. Correct,
but in Japanese, it's very important to make sure who you're talking to, you say stuff correctly. So the the sentence can be either casual, the way it's set up,
or conservative.
It could be casual with everyday friends or whatever, and then you've got the more formal.
Yeah.
So when you speak Japanese to me, you could drop the watashi, I don't care.
Yeah.
But when you're talking to, I don't know, the president of your college or something.
You want to at least have the dasu as a context, talking about yourself. Then they know from that point on that they're talking about yourself. They know this who's talking about it in that tense.
Not exactly. So what I'm trying to get at is when you go talk to someone who's like a higher level than you, because that's pretty important in Japan.
Yeah.
You start off the sentence with watashi, like you would use watashi.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you got to add more to your sentence, I guess, to make it more appropriate and polite. It's all about being polite. So after you say watashi. Watashi wa inu ga suki desu. You could say that to. It's a pretty formal sentence, I would think. But you could drop the watashi part, and that would be the watashi wa part, and that would be more of a casual sentence.
Oh, so the watashi wa is like you don't have to use it in that professional sense. You can still say they're talking about yourself.
Yes.
So if you don't say otherwise, they're going to assume it's you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Pretty much. Unless it's kind of complicated.
It's inferred that if you don't specify, then you might be talking about yourself.
Yeah, normally it's like you're talking about yourself unless you start the conversation with someone else, like your mom or whatever. Then they can, then they usually can, people who speak Japanese, can, they figure out, okay, we're talking about your mom. in the sentence, and then when they switch to you, they switch it to you in the sentence, and then you don't have to really keep putting your name at there.
Yeah, you can just change the noun the verb structure to say who you're referring to in an A B conversation, or maybe C, depending on what's going on the context.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So, kanji is the most popular, but the other two, how do they structure? Like, what's the best setting that they're used in?
So hiragana is the basic quote-unquote alphabet of the Japanese language. Usually this is what you start out with when you start learning it. The sounds for it are a, I, U, E, O. So those are all the basic sounds. So you can combine a or a, my bad. A. You can make it ka, ga, sa, za. You could always look up a hiragana chart to see exactly what I'm talking about.
It's just like abe, se, de, ef, fa, stuff like that.
Okay, I don't know much about Spanish, sorry.
Well, I took a bunch of years with it. So the alphabet of any language is usually they have the core vowels as the pinnacle point, and then they put constants to put onto those vowels, or the consonants stand among themselves. Would you say that in Japanese that you have the vowel sounding first and then the consonant following the vowel?
It's not really like that.
But you still have constant letters.
So I know no one else can really see it right now, but see how this is ah? These are their own sounds.
Okay.
That's their hiragana. So the next column is ka, but it's not associated with the a. It's ka. So they have their own symbol.
Oh, okay. So each one. Okay. I see how it is.
Yeah.
For each row, the ah category, that line, has all the ah at the end with the consonants before it. And each constant is another separate sound itself.
Right. There are a few exceptions, like, let's see.
Oh, gosh.
There are a few exceptions. That's why there's, parentheses right here. So,
we're talking about, at least over 52 combinations.
Yeah, it can get pretty complicated. But it's, for example, there's do, de, zi, G, and da. So the difference in that one is the Z and G, they do not have the D sound, if that makes sense. They have their own sound. So those two are kind of special. Yeah,
it's like good versus food. They sound different because the conjugation of the two letters, that should sound the same, but they're not. Different languages have different exceptions.
Right. This is exceptions to the way hiragana is structured and how they use it in a chart to learn it, basically. So if you look at a chart and see how it is, and maybe kind of read up a little bit on how they function together, it's not too bad. I like reading it a lot and writing it. So.
Well, yeah, because a lot of people say the writing is easier than speaking it.
Yes.
Some people, so the writing process, how you write it, you can formulate it better if you're a visual learner. You do it by hand. Now, the people that do it by auditory are better at speaking it. So the different learning styles associated with it.
Very true.
And then also, I think you have verbal, writing, and reading. That's the three different, and then comprehension as well. All of those are the main functions of languages in itself. You can spell it well, but you'll not be able to. If you spell it usually, you can at least read what you write.
Right.
You can't read everything.
Correct.
Some people just read it better than they can speak it or write it. They can just read it and not speak it or write it. So it all depends.
You're right. That's actually something I should have thought about as a disabled person, and I didn't think about that. But that's great. People learn differently. So, so basically, hiragana is a phonetic syllabary. So they're basically made. They're based on it's more of a sound language, I guess, instead of I don't know how to explain it. Like, my professor in college explained it to me. I can't remember how he said it.
So it's based on the different sounds and the different characters interacting with in the chart. And based on those different sounds, it creates a system of structure for this particular script.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. So, in this beginning stages of hiragana, what's the applications looking like throughout grade school before they learn the other scripts?
Oh gosh. Well, hiragana, they learn that pretty early on in elementary school. I think that it's about late elementary school, early middle school that they start doing. They start figuring out kanji. They may be taught some simple kanji in elementary school, but then they have to focus their studies on learning all these kanji so they can read newspapers or articles online that are written by people who write in kanji and hiragana together. So, yeah.
So kanji is like the next stepping stone with the application of hiragana and combining together. And a simple kanji.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So applying hiragana to simple kanji, what's the process like?
What do you mean? Sorry.
Like when you take the concept of hiragana you already learned and try to apply simple kanji, like base words.
Okay.
What is that process like?
Okay, so let's do the dog sentence again. So, watashi wa inu ga suki desu. So basically, let's focus on the word dog.
Okay.
All right. So this is let's just say this whole sentence is written in hiragana, and that's absolutely fine. That people do that. But a lot of the times, what they will do, and people who speak Japanese, they will take the I and nu, the two hiraganas that make up the word, and like basically remove it, and then place the kanji for dog there.
Oh, so they will take off the hiragana symbol for dog and put the kanji dog. So what's the kanji dog?
Like, what does it look like?
No, what does it just sound like?
Inu.
Inu?
Yeah, basically, it doesn't really change the sound. It changes just the way the sentence is structured. It makes it a lot easier to read.
Oh.
If I was able to write it, I could show you, but as a whole string of hiragana is hard on your eyes. And sometimes it's hard to figure out which word is which, but kanji makes it so much easier.
Because it's just simple. It's one phrase. You don't have to write a longer hiragana phrase.
Right. Instead of writing a long word, there might be a kanji that you can just put in there and it's shortened, and you know what that kanji is. You know what that's in.
So let's compare the hiragana sentence, the only sentence, with the replacement for dog of inu with the basic kanji. What's the difference there? Like, if you what's the full sentence again for the hiragana?
Watashi wa inu ga suki desu.
Okay. So what's the when you do the kanji, how does that change? How does that make it sound different?
It doesn't make it sound different. It doesn't. You literally just take the hiragana for dog and replace it with kanji.
So is this inu and all that phrase for the hiragana?
It's still pronounced the same way.
But it does make it a little shorter, because sometimes the kanji can be shorter than the hiragana phrase.
Right, that makes it much easier to read, like books and newspapers and such.
Interesting.
Yeah. Something I would like to mention too is when people, like younger people in Japan, are learning Japanese or learning kanji, they will have something called furigana on top of it. Basically, that's just like a little cheat guide for younger folks to learn what that kanji sounds like and what it means. So basically, they literally just, here's the kanji for dog, right? They'll have like tiny hiragana, inu, and hiragana at the top, so that younger folks can read it and understand, oh, this kanji means inu. It's usually for people who are trying to learn the kanji.
Alright, so where is the level where basic kanji is only kanji only? It's not combined with any other script.
Well, that's not really how it works.
Okay, so from my understanding is that kanji is always applied, but the other scripts are always applied with it.
hiragana anyway, yeah. Katakana is really just used for, it's like a second phonetic syllabary used for foreign words brought into Japan, such as bread is pun.
Yeah.
And then they also do onomatopoeias, which is like sound effects, like shing. That means quiet, silence. Quiet and silence. And other instances when written emphasis is desired, so such as Pokemon names, etc.
Okay. So that's the okay, so after you apply the basic kanji, you're doing hiragana, and sometimes the other script. Kananiwa?
Oh, it's
Kana? Yeah.
katakana.
Katakana. Where's so after you move from the combination of both hiragana and kanji, where's that upper form of simple kanji to the next level?
Okay. Well, I have never studied in Japan. Technically, I've never studied Japanese in Japan.
What was what you know?
Well, what I'm saying is I don't know the specific time frame in someone's life.
No, that time frame. What's the next level look like?
What do you mean? Like the structure?
Yeah.
Oh, I
after
see.
you apply the simple kanji with hiragana.
Okay.
What does that look like?
I see. I'm sorry. Okay, so basically, this is basic kanji right here. See, it's not very long. I mean, they're not very. Yeah. They have very few strokes. These are called strokes.
Minimalistic.
And they usually, a lot of these usually only have one radical. The character itself is the radical because look, here's the book. It tells you what the radical is.
Okay.
And it's telling you basically what the radical is there. So this is the simple kanji. So then when you start getting into like the more complicated kanji. Let's go for it. Oh, here we go. This is great. So these are starting to get a little complicated, right?
I see like what 9 strokes on it.
Well, this
the radical being like 9 or something like that.
Which one are you looking at?
This one.
Okay, this one has it has 9.
Okay, so the difference of like 2 or 3 strokes to 9. What does that change look like?
I guess I don't understand what you're saying.
Like, when you have the basic kanji compared to the more complicated kanji, does the strokes change with it, or can the strokes still be similar to the basic but be more complicated nonetheless?
That honestly does not matter. So these are literally just words.
Oh, okay.
That you put in.
Okay.
And then the simple ones are also words, but they tend to do the simpler ones first because they're easy to comprehend, and then you just kind of build upon that, and you get more familiar with the bigger ones, and the ones with like 14 strokes or something. So, yeah.
Okay, so I know, like, basic words in other languages is usually just one big 5 to 10 characters.
Right.
With writing kanji, it's one character, but these strokes represent the translation of that kanji. Like that, you have one radical representing the word itself.
Right.
And with that radical, that is one word.
It depends. So let me show you real quick. So this radical is for number 6. Pronounced Doku. So it's made up of this top part here. You see 1, 2. It's made up of that top part, and that tells you what it is. And then the second part is 3, 4. It's made up of that part. Now, sometimes these radicals are their own kanji as well.
Okay.
That you can just, it's like, you see, okay, here's an example right here. So this kanji right here, day of the week. This radical on the far left is also the kanji for sun.
Oh, because it reflects the solar cycle as the day and sets and different day. Okay.
Well, yeah. So this one means moon or month. So this one means moon or month, and then this next one.
That's the lunar phase. That's it.
Then the next one, it looks similar, but it also has the sun symbol next to it, right? The sun kanji. It's pronounced me, which is light. So yeah, that's how that works.
Oh, okay. So sometimes they will do like, for example, month. It's either moon or month, and that's usually because of the lunar cycle with different phases of the month, right? Is that kind of what you're referring to?
It does that for some kanji.
Mm-hmm.
Some kanji...
So they have a double meaning or have like a different meaning?
Right, it's like in English. You got like a word that sounds the same, but they mean two different things. That's how kanji is too. And sometimes they're completely different, you know?
True.
So.
Okay. So, what's the difference between writing the basic kanji and more complicated kanji?
Stroke order. That's really it.
Okay.
I've seen some stroke orders that go up to like 20-something. It's crazy. Oh, I know there's one part I want to talk about too.
Okay.
So basically in Japan, when they write hiragana, katakana, etc., there's a couple of ways, styles, I suppose, that they write it in. So let me see if I can find an example. They'll have like a typed version, like the computer types out. They'll have a pen version, basically just using a ballpoint pen and writing on paper. And then they have a more painterly version. That's kind of the
like
ones
a signature,
well,
like
that's
the artist.
With the paintbrush is kind of like the stereotypical thing you see in movies and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's still the same word, just looks different. It's kind of like how people who speak English have different handwriting. Yeah. That's pretty much what that is.
Okay. And I know a lot of languages that don't have the the Asian languages. Usually like the Middle East, by exceptions. And Japanese. Usually most languages are long letters.
Okay.
Well, this is script writing. Script is basically the different strokes you put with it, and that's one character to represent that word.
Exactly.
So when you put it on paper, it's actually sometimes shorter with the radicals and strokes than writing big, long sentence.
I got out my notebook so I could show you. So I'll write this for you. So I'll write it in...
Let's do I like dog again.
Okay. Yeah. We'll do that again. It's been a while since I've written in Japanese because I stuff going on, but I feel terrible.
That's the simplest one.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Alright, so that's wa. Ta. Shi. This word means me. My handwriting is terrible, I'm sorry.
It's fine.
And then watashi. Now this is interesting. This character right here that I'm writing is pronounced ha normally. Okay. But when you use it in a sentence to I guess modify a word, it tells you what that word's doing, that subject's doing, it's pronounced wa.
Okay, wa.
Instead. So watashi wa. And then we got Inu. Got.
Oh.
Got. Hold on, let me write this.
Oh, I'm starting to see it now.
You starting to see it? Hold on.
Yeah.
It's easier when you write it out, right?
Well, what I'm seeing is that...
Why did I forget this?
What I'm actually seeing is that the individual characters can be sometimes more than the actual sentence in other languages that use the letters. Like, they use letters instead of radicals for a lot of stuff. I do know that.
Why did I forget that? Ga, gi, de, su. And then to end the sentence, you put a circle for the period. A smaller one than that, sorry.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that says, I like dogs.
Okay, how about Inu?
Inu itself?
Yeah.
Alright, so Inu's kanji looks like this.
Alright. So, this is dog in hiragana, and this is Inu, which is also dog in kanji.
Yes.
Okay, so what's the difference between these two characters that you can say, globally?
Well, okay, so take a look at the sentence. You can see the whole sentence. It's all written in hiragana, completely just hiragana. And when you start reading more complicated stuff, seeing a bunch of hiragana together can be really confusing because it's like, wait, does this go with this word? Or does this one go here? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
So what they do is, for example, they'll take out the inu and inu, the hiragana, and they'll replace it with the kanji. So that makes it easier to figure out, they don't go together with this word, it's inu.
Okay.
So that makes it easier to read.
Okay, so do people, when they just write the words Do they have different brackets set up so you can format the word better? Like this is separated, or do they just put you on a big line and you have to put space to put in between? Because I know a lot of times how we do it, you have this is the break, another bracket, break, bracket, break, and each break is a new letter or a new word.
Okay. Hold on. I'm trying to, What's the word? Jeez, why am I blanking on this word? It's not subject, it's... What's the thing that's doing the verb? Not the verb, the thing that's associated
Agreement?
with the verb. What's that?
Agreement?
No, it's the main word. That's the thing that's doing the verb.
The subject verb agreement?
No, I don't know why I'm blanking on this word. Is it
the noun?
The noun, thank you. Why did I blank on that? Oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm trying to set this up so you can see kind of how they write it.
Okay.
Noun. They can also have adjectives here. And then, so then they do the noun, and then at the end, they'll have the whatever symbol here, and then at the end is the verb, and then you could also have past tense. Yep.
Okay. So visually, you have...
I'm sorry. I remember. This is particle. My bad.
Oh, particle?
So that's what these are called. The one that connects the words together. And here, wa and ga. Those are particles.
Okay. And those are just makes it separated?
It kind of does, but it's honestly just like...
It's like particles like the, in, all that stuff? Is it similar?
No, not the or a, but it's more of adjectives, I guess. Not adjectives. Okay. What's the one that starts with an O? Why am I blanking?
Noun?
No, it starts with an O. Like in...
Onomatopoeia?
No. In, out, above, below.
Prepositional phrases?
Preposition.
Okay. The prepositions in the actual language.
It's kind of like preposition, yeah. So
okay,
yeah.
So when people think of preposition, there are extra words that you can add to the sentence to make it more syntax. I like the dog. I like the dog with its owner. Stuff like that adds extra.
Yes.
But with the particles in Japanese, it doesn't really add extra. It's more of structure.
Yes.
It's in between each line of text. Basically, it's a break of pause to go to the next subject. It's literally saying, it's indicating that the next structure is coming up in the sentence.
Exactly. Yep.
And usually, how it's possessed is that you have the adjective, or you do any adjective, like the green sun, and then the noun, and then the particles in between, and then the verb. Because usually, how English is set up is I like the dog.
Right.
Well, the noun is first.
Yeah.
Like is usually white in the between. And then the subject is the dog.
Right.
The noun's I, but the subject is the dog. The subject is usually... The way that you set it up is the verb is like right either after the noun or like in between. Or the book is great. The book is the noun, but it's also the subject. So there's different ways to write it, but the thing is, that structure is not followed. It's just noun, adjective, noun, particles, verb. That's how they write it in Japanese.
Pretty much like most formal writing anyway. So they always, if there's a time involved in the sentence, you always start with time. Mainichi means every day. So you like every day I do whatever. You always put mainichi, you put mainichi first because you always put the time first. Whether it's 10 o'clock, today, every day, just, words that explain time.
Gotcha.
Then, after that, There's... Sorry, I'm trying to think about the sentence. Okay, so basically there's the time, and then there comes the noun, right? Mm-hmm. So you could put an adjective in front of it, like instead of like I like dogs, you could be like I like big dogs.
Yeah.
So that you could say that, or you could omit it. It's just how you want the sentence to be structured. And then you got the noun, and then you got the particle that tells you what the heck this verb has to do with this noun.
Oh, so if the particle is a relationship to the noun and the verb.
Yeah, but yes, mostly there's also like, okay, so let me, let's see. Let me give you another example. Okay, I got it, I promise. Well, maybe. Where is it? I'm so sorry, I was not prepared for this.
Yeah, I asked, for people that don't know, my questions tend to be random, so sometimes the guest is like caught off guard.
Okay, so here's the example I was trying to explain. So this word is inu, dog.
Okay, inu.
And that word is water. Mizu.
Okay, InuMizu.
InuMizu.
InuMizu. Okay.
But there's something in between the two words. No.
No.
So
okay.
inu, no, mizu. That literally means the dog's water. Think of the no as like the apostrophe s.
Okay.
That's how that one works.
Oh, okay. So the particle is, you just have dog and water. You won't know the consonant unless you have the particle.
Exactly.
Okay, so the particle is important because it provides the context of the sentence. If you don't have it, it's basically like the equivalent of not having a subject-verb agreement in a sentence in English.
Okay, yeah, you really need to use particles in sentences, otherwise no one knows what you're talking about.
Exactly, because you're referring to who you're talking about. Like, it could be, I don't know.
What kind of person are you thinking of?
Painting great. Well, that's an incomplete sentence. You know,
right.
You don't have is, and then you can also get confused like which noun is being applied, which being described, all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so with the particle, then you have the verb at the end.
Yes.
Pretty much.
Yes, you have the verb at the end. The verb always goes at the end.
And is there anything that goes like after the verb? Like, how about anything describing the verb?
The only thing I can think of from my experience that goes after a verb is the word, let's see. Why am I forgetting? I'm so sorry. So it's like, no. Mizu. Oh, I'm sorry, that's not supposed to be there. So, inu, no, mizu. And then at the end of the sentence, sometimes they'll add like, how can I explain it?
Suffix. Or
it's not a suffix. Basically, it's something at the end of the sentence that it basically kind of makes it like someone saying something excitingly.
Oh, like an exclamation point or something like that. Mm-hmm. Or escastively. The dog's in the water fantastically or something like that. Something similar. The dog is swimming greatly.
Yeah, when you're like making basically a sentence with the exclamation. I can never say that word. Exclamation point. There's prepositions. So.
So the state of feeling, basically.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. There's a little thing that tells you. See that time.
Time, word, subject, then subject with time of word.
I forgot about location. I'm so sorry. And then
indirect and direct.
And then verb is at the end. And then.
Basically, so the correct particle is in the designated word, will make sense. Therefore, however, use another word in another sense, but this does not apply to the letter. Like the time or subject, the subject or the time word, the location it's happening, the indirect object like the, that describes the direct object, which is the noun, and then the verb. And then any descriptive words or phrases precede the word that describe.
What are
So
you looking
any
at that?
descriptive
Okay.
words. So if you have, is there such thing as adverb in Japanese? It's a thing that you would describe the verb, how you're doing the action.
Anything describing the verb, how you're doing the action?
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't that be like an adjective or something?
Well, you know how you do. He ran the track. He was very He was in the doctor's office patiently. He was patiently waiting for it to happen. It describes how he was waiting.
It sounds like an adjective to me.
It describes the verb, not the noun. It gives a state of being of how they're doing the action.
I've never thought about that, to be honest.
Usually most adverbs are ly. So like patiently waiting describes the context of how he is waiting.
Okay, so I get you. So basically, at the end of the sentence is the verb, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what the person's doing or the thing's doing.
Yeah.
To describe the action, the verb, you put the adjective in front of that. You always put you put the adjective in front of the noun, and then you put the adjective in front of the verb if it's necessary.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So like if you want to say he's running fastly, you can put fast running or something like that. Something similar.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Fast running or fastly running.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so that still follows that logic of the adjective is before whatever it's describing.
Exactly.
This descriptive word is what they should say.
Okay.
Because it's not just adjective or adverb because they're both describing something, but in context.
Right.
So let's go to kana.
Okay. One more thing before we go to kana, because I forgot to mention this. At the end of a sentence, you end with a verb, and then it depends on the context as to is it present, future, past, etc. There are, that I know of, 2 words, or short hiragana, words that you can put at the end of the sentence. So, inu ga suki desu ka? Meaning, you're asking a question. Do you like dogs?
Oh, okay. So that is like the equivalent of different punctuation at the end.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like so that's like a ka with a question mark.
Gotcha.
And then when you say inu ga suki desu yo, that means the yo means like you're excited. It's kind of like putting an exclamation point there.
Oh yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, I'm excited for whatever's in the sentence.
Okay. It's just like Spanish. They changed the pronunciation of the word of the spelling. So like, for example, do you like talking? I can say hase.
Can't help you, but I don't know Spanish.
No, hase gustar. Yeah. Well, no. Do you like talking? That's double verb, double infinitive. Yeah, hase. Hase gustar. It said, do you like talking? And you can how you actually heses gustar. And you change how you pronunciate the phrase instead of changing it to like, te gusta star? Do you like doing that? And you change how you pronunciate it to say that you're asking a question. Or you can say you do an exclamation point too. Because usually most statements are verbal periods at the end, punctuation-wise.
Right.
So you do the punctuation for like an ending for a regular statement. But with this, do you have to put like a question mark or exclamation point or anything like that?
Yeah, let me show you again. I'm sorry. I should have written this out for you. So we got watashi wa inu ga suki. Sorry, it's going to have to go up there. Desu. And then if you're asking a question, you do ka.
Oh, okay. So you still put the question mark at the end.
Yeah, the punctuation is always at the end.
Okay.
Always.
Okay.
And same with yo. So yo can be there, like watashi wa inu ga suki desu yo.
Oh, okay. I can see it now. So you do change the phrase of it. You sound like more excited about it. Like you're more curious about knowing their answers. Like, Te de Gusia? Stuff like that gives off that impression of that question statement. Okay. Interesting. With kana.
We'll talk about katakana now.
Yeah, so
okay.
katakana.
Yeah.
What's some of the phrases that you use with kanji and kana to describe some of these characters?
Okay,
or foreign elements.
They do not use kanji to replace any katakana in sentences.
Well, I know that, but do they use kanji phrases and hiragana to describe it, and then they put the kana phrase associated with that character, or?
Well, let me show you another example, and I can try to explain it. So if you're writing a sentence and you need to write a word in katakana because it's a foreign word or whatever, you literally just put, it's almost like the katakana word put together, whatever it is, like the word kanji. I'm just using an example. Kanji. You can write that in here, katakana, just for an example. They do that. It's basically that the katakana is replacing what it would be in hiragana, kind of like what the kanji did.
Oh, okay.
Because when you, look, let me show you. So, when you look at katakana, it's interesting because kanji is a lot more curly and round.
Yeah.
Katakana is more straight and angles.
Oh, okay. So it's more different writing style altogether.
Yeah, it's the same. It's basically the same sound. You basically just have to learn like a new character associated with it.
Oh, okay, so this is more linear angle-wise with the strokes. This one's more like curves and.
Yeah, the top one's more like curvy and kind of just.
So the radicals are dramatically different, or they're like noticeably different.
Radicals?
Yeah.
Oh, well, we only use radicals in kanji.
Oh, okay.
So, when you have a sentence, just going to do another example here. I'm going to put watashi. I keep using this sentence, Watashi wa, I'm sorry. Let's see. Oh, we'll do it. We'll do it this time.
So if people don't, know the implication of replacement of hiragana and kanji. Hiragana is the base form, kanji replaces hiragana, and then katakana replaces the base form of hiragana, which is the base form of all the language. So katakana is like the most advanced level that will place. It's like a fancy level that has its own category.
Well, here's a sentence to help.
Okay.
So you can see it. So we start with watashi wa, still in
Senior,
hiragana.
whatever.
Now we're gonna pretend like we want to emphasize the word dog because it's something important, like or a foreign word or something. So we're gonna change it to katakana. And the reason they do that is because when you read a sentence, and like I said, when you read just a whole sentence of just hiragana, it's kind of hard on the eyes and for you to kind of understand what's going on.
Yeah.
But like katakana breaks it up as well, like kanji. Like, I want emphasis on this word because it's cool or it's foreign.
Okay. So when you put emphasis on it, does it change the meaning, or does it just change? Is it still in you?
It's still inu.
Oh, it's still in you, but it just emphasizes in you.
It's still inu. It's pronounced inu. You literally just change the characters.
Oh, so basically, now do you have how you say it? Do you in you? Like you have a different change of tone?
No tone change.
Well, how do you know it's you're talking about katakana in speaking wise? Because I know you can see it in writing,
right?
But obviously, how do you translate it to speaking? How do they know that you're talking in katakana instead of the base form kanji?
Here, I'll give you an example. The word pinku is literally the Japanese word for pink. They borrowed the word pink from English language and made it there. So when they write the word pink in Japanese, they don't write in hiragana or kanji. They write in katakana. So when you're saying pinku, it sounds like pink. Mm-hmm. So people understand, oh, that's not a Japanese word. So that's something emphasized because it sounds funny to them. Do you get what I'm saying?
Oh, okay. So you have so most of the time you see the implication of kan to kana is basically that different word that's not like Inu being emphasized. Because you can emphasize Inu, but it's already a kanji letter. So you have to do like something that's its own word in katakana to know the difference.
If it's like a foreign word or a word you're trying to emphasize, that's special.
So the main way you identify in the speaking part is that foreign word coming out in the sentence, basically. That's the only character for it, katakana, then you use the katakana.
Yeah, so if you're talking about a foreign word, like, I don't know, like the color, we can talk about the color gray. Mm-hmm. They just, they don't really have a name for that, they just do gray. So,
gray.
Gure.
Gray.
Gu.
Gu.
Re.
Gu. Re.
E.
Gu. Gray.
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 Yep. So
no, Spanish is gris.
Oh, okay. Well, they basically, that's another word the Japanese took from English, so. Mm-hmm. Sorry. So it would be like if we're talking about gray, it'd be like right here, so you can see it.
You can say a gray dog.
Right, you can use it as an adjective, yeah. So.
Oh, so you can say gray in you, stuff like that. Mm-hmm.
Now, there is a rule with it. Mm-hmm. If you use an adjective to describe a noun, you put E at the end.
So like, gray E. Oh, no, gray.
It already ends in like an E sound.
Oh,
so it's fine.
Okay.
But a word like akai, that is, it means red in Japanese. That is their own word for red.
Gotcha.
It ends in E because it's describing the noun. Mm-hmm. So, akai inu, that means red dog. Mm-hmm. But then, like, there's also parts where you use just aka. You take the E off because you're using aka as more of a noun, I believe. Mm-hmm. So, it is red.
Oh, okay.
Aka, literally aka desu.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
So, that's a little bit about 3 different scripts, how to use, and how the structure of the sentence can change slightly depending on the implication of either kanji or katakana. And a lot of times, hiragana is the base form that you learn, and you continuously use that. And when you learn the more complicated levels of kanji, you can actually just replace it for a simple version if you want to. And kanji is an easier writing, easier sounding, and you can also do it in the base form too.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So is there anything, like, closing-wise you want people to know?
Sure. I'm sorry I kind of blanked out on stuff.
Oh, no, you're fine.
I'm not like the best. I'm not like a teacher.
You're not a professor. I'm not asking for a professor.
Yeah, and it's been a while since I've been able to do this stuff. Just, life gets in the way. But I really do appreciate you having me here to do this, and I would like to do more if you're interested.
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely interested.
I know a lot about the history and the culture and the language, so language is a little iffy right now because I don't use this much anymore. But definitely the culture and history, I got that down. So.
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely aware of some of the historical perspectives there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Japan's got a great history, got a great culture. I just love it. So.
And where is the corresponding link, like, on social media? Like, what they can use to search it?
For what?
Your social media. The advertising your art.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, let me get that. It's spelled I. Oh gosh, it's spelled I. N as in nanny. U. M as in Matt. IMI. It says InuMimi. Mm-hmm. DeviantArt.com. That's where I put my art. That's probably the most updated version.
Okay, gotcha.
So yeah.
All right. Well, we look forward to InuMimi on the internet. That'll be in the description below. And thanks for Devin to come on to the podcast today.
Yeah, no problem. I enjoyed it.
And remember, when you're doing languages, every single language itself has a unique style, how they do that language and how the setup is. So not every language is always going to be the same. There might be some overlapping characteristics, but most of the time, if you get into script writing, it's totally different than when you have like the vowels and consonant writing that we have like in English or German or stuff like that. Because those are longer characters.
Right.
The script is mostly done with the stroke, so that they might seem longer, but in actual reality, when you get to long, complicated writing in those other languages like German, the writing actually gets longer and the Japanese is actually short.
I've noticed that.
But thanks for we're really glad to have Devin and maybe have him on future episodes and
I'll
covering the Japanese aesthetics / Asian studies.
All right, I look forward to it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Guys, enjoy your day. Help us get a little bit closer into what the Japanese scripts look like, and next stepping stone to maybe, I don't know, one day to just hear the Japanese anime on the TV and you just know exactly word for word.
I got one more thing to tell. There's a website called gistro.org. It's an amazing website for Japanese. You just totally check it out. You can look up kanji by radicals. You can look at sentence structures, etc. It's GISHO.org. Check it out.
Well, there you go. The website to direct you to it, and we call that a day.
This concludes another episode of MC Anime Podcast. MC Anime Podcast is available on podcast directories like Google Podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. We also have our website at mcanimepodcast.com. If you want to directly support us, then follow Patreon blog MC Anime. Finally, if you want services for hire, then we're available on Fiverr for audio and video production, graphic design, idea consulting, and blog and article writing.